Hello, welcome to the show. I am Suzanne Lynn, and joining me today, author, and I'm going to try to do this authentically, David Agredano.
How you doing? Sounds great.
Pretty
That was
close.
lovely. Oh, that was more than close.
That's good, good. David wrote Reinhardt's Inferno, The Demon Summons. Welcome, David. I'm glad that you're here today.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
If you are watching or listening, and as a kid, you remember those books that had multiple endings, it would lead you to certain pages and you could choose the outcome kind of. You could have a different ending after going through it 3 or 4 times. You're going to love David because he has brought that to the adult world. And I just love the fact that your book, you go through it several times and you don't know how it's going to end each time.
Right. Or at least we could safely say I made an attempt to bring it to a more mature audience. But yeah, I used to read those books all the time when I was younger. That was my favorite genre. I don't even know if you could call it a genre, but definitely a style of writing. And I was always so drawn to it. And I collected them when I was younger. But of course, as I grew older, the books, they always stayed the same. In fact, Choose Your Own Adventure, as that has been patented. No one else can actually use that. If you want to do that similar style book, you'd have to name it something else. That's why I went with Epic Choice.
Oh, cool.
Right. So Choose Your Own Adventure is patented, but every one of those books, they're all catered to young adults, children. And I got older, especially when I started studying martial arts. I wanted to do something more, a little bit more physical, a little bit more intense, more action, adventure. So that's kind of where I started thinking, maybe I could do something like this. I mean, I've been writing ever since I was a kid, kind of slowly but surely been getting better over the years, I hope. And I figured this is something that I definitely need to try. So I have the first one done and it's ready to go.
Well, why don't you tell us about Reinhardt's Inferno, The Demon Summons?
Reinhardt's Inferno, it's an epic choice, meaning you can choose the paths of your protagonist. You also choose the actions of how they interact and how they battle some of the creatures that they encounter. But it essentially is kind of starts out as a mystery. The reader, just like the protagonist, Renin, Reinhardt, and Vera Sin, they don't really know much about what's going on. All they know is that the world is going through an incredible change, a change of evil. Creatures that they used to think were myth, lore, never existed, now are appearing within their world. And you as the reader, you start out in a deranged prison, and it kind of goes from there. You escape. It's really it's a story of survival. It's an adventure tale where you are encountering at every turn different characters, different creatures, different demonic beings. And it's one that's really meant to make you want to go back and, even if you didn't do well, even if you perished, maybe you'll go back and say, maybe I'll go this way and see what else I encounter. But I have had a few readers already telling me that they're getting a kick out of it. So
wouldn't that be great in life if we could go back? Now I'm going back to page 55. I'm going to do a redo. I want a different outcome.
In many ways, that could be one of the appeals to it. Maybe when I was younger, maybe that's one of the things that drew me to it, because I used to take the wrong turn all the time. And I would always go back, almost determined to, I'm going to find the right direction. I'm going to find the truth. And in a way, I kind of think, we get older, but we're always little kids inside. So this story is meant to kind of hopefully make reading a little bit more interactive, a little bit more enjoyable, something that, again, could kind of bring out the inner child in us.
So as far as the different outcomes, are there some that are positive and some that are negative?
Oh, there's a lot that are negative. And the positive actions, those will keep your main characters moving through the plot line.
Okay.
And of course, you get to the end of this first tale, and there are 4 different endings that help prepare us for book number 2. But there are many ways to perish in this book. But even when you do so, what I tried to do is even when that happens, the event itself, what happens is revealing to the plot. Sometimes the protagonist dying in the book will reveal a grander aspect of the overall tale that you otherwise would have never learned if you actually went a different way. every single ending reveals something a little bit different about the characters. It reveals something a little bit different about the grander tale. The same with every choice you make. One path will oftentimes split into two, and then from there that splits off into more. Every direction the reader takes is a different piece of the plot. So slowly but surely, as you move through whichever choice you pick, you will begin to understand what's happening. You learn a little bit more about your characters, their history, their backstory, and it's meant to make you want to keep reading and find out not just more about what's going on, but hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about the characters.
And how could you not want to jump into book number 2 when it comes out, right?
That's the whole idea. This book, this whole tale, actually, I tried to start it as one long grand tale. Decided to break it up into 3 books, and that's actually worked out much better. It's actually allowing me to finish my own writing schedules on time. So,
that's nice. That's great.
yeah.
I have to ask you, when you first talked about martial arts, did that play into the theme, or how did that affect your writing?
That actually, it plays into I would say, a lot of the action, the descriptions of the story, the encounters. Like I said, every turn you're coming across something different. It's either a different creature or a different demonic being.
And is that because martial arts is a little bit darker? Is that where?
In a way, it just naturally it tends to do that. A lot of the appropriate arts, they're always going to teach you respect, discipline, obligation, courtesy, cordiality. But in the end, it's still a very physical art form. You're still learning. At times, you're learning how to maim people. Other times, you're learning how to kill people. You're learning how to defend yourself. It's just, it can be very dark at times.
Sure.
And one of my favorite writers, Terry Brooks, who did the Sword of Shannara series, his descriptions, his battle scenes they're very intense. And growing up reading those, I think I kind of borrowed some of his style a little bit. But doing the martial arts has also helped me make my own descriptions of my battle scenes, my fight scenes. They tend to be very, very descriptive. They're very violent. They're very bloody at times, but that's my style. And that's where a lot of the maturity comes in. I don't recommend my book for a younger audience, maybe unless they get parental approval or if they're just a little bit more on a mature level, mainly because of the violence. It can be pretty intense at times, and you will come across there's written scenarios where it's not even combat. It's diseases and strange infections that overtake the protagonist, and the descriptions of what happens to their bodies as they begin to break down. It gets pretty dramatic at times.
Wow, it sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
David, we're running out of time, but I've got to find out, how do we get a hold of you and your book?
You can get me on Facebook. Find me on facebook.com. I actually have a page. It's just David Agredano, novelist. I'm also on amazon.com. If you go to amazon.com and you type in Reinhardt's Inferno, my book's going to be, right now, it's going to be the first thing that pops up. From there, you can see my author page. Feel free to follow me there. Feel free to follow me on Facebook. I also have a trailer up on there. Trailer was put together with a friend of mine, Dave Escobar, an audio engineer. Give him huge shout out and kudos for Dave. But check it out. That's on YouTube. It's circulating through different ads right now. So hopefully people will see it.
David, thank you. Have a great day. Good talking.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. This is awesome. Thank you.